When I think about equally yoked relationships, I think about strengths and weaknesses. I think about God healing our weaknesses. So where I may be strong, you may be weak, and vice versa. And I think that when we're unhealed, we don't necessarily see the blessing in our person having a strength where we are weak. Instead, we can see them as competition. Like, why are they more effective? Why are they more why are they more effective? Why do they seem to get more done or get more credit in this area? They seem to be more effective. And I'm reading about Saul. I'm reading about Saul and David, and I just over and over see how Saul was jealous of David, not understanding that they were partners. So if God sent David to be the solution to Saul's weakness, which we saw when the Spirit of the Lord departed from Saul, that God sent David, right? He positioned him in the palace for that time to help Saul, right? That was to be the solution for his weakness. He couldn't go to sleep without music. You know what I'm saying? He was being tormented. Then we see the same situation when it came down to war. Well, Saul has killed his thousands and David his 10,000s. Granted, I understand how, especially if you're a believer, you understand how God always gets the glory, right? We may do our part, but God always does more. And so we always give glory to God. But in this situation, we see how it wasn't about David not giving Saul the glory, because David continuously humbled himself before Saul. But Saul couldn't get over the fact that the people saw David as a leader and a better leader. He couldn't get the glory. He couldn't take the glory because it was on David. And even in that situation, we know that David was there. God placed him there because he would be the successor. But in that moment, I felt like the solution was just a different perspective. If Saul would have looked at David as God's answered prayer God's answered prayer to strengthen his weakness, couldn't that have been a rock star team? Because here's the thing about equally yoked relationships. If I'm strong in this department and you're strong in this department, then I won't necessarily say we don't have need for one another. But what I will say is that I could see how envy or even competition can spark, because we're equally good at this one thing. So we might be like, okay, well, let's see who can do it better, you know? I just think that that's human nature, and I don't necessarily think that there's anything toxic about it. I think that it's okay to have healthy conflict or healthy competition. You know what I'm saying? But when you're talking about mating, right? When you're talking about mating, I feel that there needs to be, it's a necessity that there is strength and weakness, because that's how you bond. So again, when you think about competition, those are two opposing forces. They're not necessarily trying to come together. You know? They're not trying to come together. You understand what I'm saying? What they're trying to do is rule. All right? One wants the superior position versus weakness and strength. It's about bonding. It's about coming together. It's about yoking, right? So, yeah, I feel like whenever we are seeing things, specifically in romantic relationships or even in friendships, seeing things from a competitive lens more often is because we're dealing with unhealed trauma. And we're looking through a toxic lens. We're dealing with toxicity within our spirit. You know what I'm saying? There's some resentment, some bitterness, some insecurity. It's all that, right? And it's because from a different perspective, that's what yoking is about. That's what bonding is about. It's about strengths and weaknesses. And if you have somebody, God sends you somebody to strengthen your weakness, don't you not see that as a blessing? You know what I'm saying? Like, my God answered my prayers because he knew that I was slacking in this environment or in this area. He knew that I could be better, and he sent me a solution. He sent me somebody that can help me be better in this area, you know? And For that reason, there's no need to compete. But it does require humility. Or the only way that we can learn humility and or even to exercise humility is for us to go through many ego deaths. And that's the hard part. It's putting your pride to the side and acknowledging I'm weak in this area. I need help in this area. You know? Listen, the squeaky wheel gets the oil. I'll just put that there. I'm going to just leave that there. Okay?